A very quiet morning in the bunny burrow asterisk, deep beneath the gentle roots of an old oak tree, there was a warm little home known as the bunny burrow. It wasn't fancy or loud or busy. Instead, it was soft, calm, and filled with warm, earthy smells that made anyone who visited feel safe the moment they stepped inside. The bunny family lived there, and every corner of the burrow held a piece of their gentle lives. A woven basket of soft blankets here, a tiny wooden stool there, and shelves full of neatly arranged acorn cups and carrot bowls. Nothing in this home rushed. Nothing hurried. Everything simply moved at the slow and peaceful rhythm of the forest. Mama Willow, with her soft snow-white fur and pale pink apron tied gently around her waist, was the first to open her eyes that morning. The lantern on the wall glowed faintly, still giving off the warm golden hue it saved from last night. And Mama Willow allowed herself a long, slow breath. She loved mornings like this, quiet, still, and untouched by the world's noise. She could hear only the faint sounds of the forest above them, the stretching branches, the early birds whispering soft notes, and the leaves brushing lightly together as if wishing each other good morning. Beside her, Papa Briar was still sleeping, his warm brown fur rising and falling with each peaceful breath. He wore his blue knitted sweater even while sleeping because he said it felt like wearing a hug he never had to take off. Mama Willow smiled as she looked at him. He always looked so peaceful in sleep, as though the world couldn't trouble him at all. But what Mama Willow loved most were the tiny, almost silent sounds coming from the little bedroom across the burrow. Lulu and Momo, their children, were sleeping in their small wooden beds. Lulu, the older sibling with soft gray fur, always held tight to her tiny blanket, a blanket she had since she was born. Momo, the baby bunny, slept with his favorite star-shaped pillow tucked beneath his cheek, glowing faintly with soft stitched sparkles, making sure her feet touched the floor with the gentlest of taps so she wouldn't disturb her family. She walked to the kitchen nook, a cozy corner where everything was made from natural forest materials. As she lifted a small clay pot filled with warm oatmeal she had prepared the night before, she hummed a soft, slow tune. It wasn't a song that anyone would shout or sing loudly. It was a tune meant only for mornings like this, the kind of tune that reminded you the world was gentle. She added a pinch of cinnamon petals, each falling like tiny whispers into the pot. With a gentle stir, the scent of warm oats drifted through the burrow, wrapping itself around each room like a cozy hug. The faint sound of shifting blankets came from Lulu's room. Mama Willow paused, listening. She always enjoyed hearing her children wake up in their own soft way. No alarms, no sudden noises, just slow stretches and little breaths as they found their way into a new day. Lulu blinked open her warm, brown eyes and looked at the soft glow coming from the hallway. She didn't rush to get up. Lulu was a thoughtful little bunny, someone who liked taking her time. She lifted her tiny blanket, held it close for a moment, and then slowly sat up. The soft fur on her ears brushed against her pillow as she stretched. She looked across the room at Mo, who was still asleep, his star pillow tucked under his fluffy cheek. He let out a tiny, squeaky yawn, the kind only a baby bunny could make. Lulu giggled softly and whispered, "Good morning, Momo." Though she knew he wasn't awake enough to hear it, she walked quietly, her footsteps nearly silent on the wooden floor, and peeked into the hall. Mama Willow noticed her and whispered with a warm smile, "Good morning, Lulu. Did you sleep well?" Lulu nodded and rubbed her eyes. "I slept like a leaf on calm water," she murmured, one of the little comparisons Mama Willow always used that Lulu loved repeating. Papa Briar finally stretched in the main room, still half asleep but smiling. "Morning already," he said softly, rubbing his eyes. "Feels like the night wrapped us up in an extra blanket." "Maybe it did," Mama Willow said with a smile. "The world above sounded very gentle while you slept." Papa Briar inhaled deeply, "And the smell of your oatmeal is waking me up all by itself." Lulu giggled, and Mama Willow gently handed her a small wooden bowl. "Would you like to help me set the table?" Lulu loved helping. She carefully took each acorn cup and placed it at the little table, one for Papa, one for Mama, one for herself, and one tiny one for Mama. She made sure the cups were lined up perfectly. The table wasn't large, but to Lulu it felt like the center of the world. Momo finally stirred awake, blinking his sleepy eyes and hugging his star pillow tightly. He wasn't in a hurry to get out of bed. He liked mornings to come to him slowly. Papa Briar walked over and gently scooped him into his arms, whispering, "Good morning, little star." Momo nuzzled into Papa's sweater, feeling its soft, knitted warmth. He let out a tiny squeak, his version of saying good morning. The bunny family gathered around the table. Mama Willow placed their bowls gently so the soft clink wouldn't be too loud. Papa Briar poured warm milk into each acorn cup, and Lulu watched the gentle steam rise in swirls, like tiny clouds dancing up into the air as they ate. They didn't talk about big plans or loud adventures. Instead, they shared soft thoughts about simple things, like how the leaves outside must still be sleepy, or how the clouds probably hadn't even finished stretching yet. "What shall we do today?" Papa Briar asked in a soft voice. Lulu thought for a moment. "Maybe we can tidy the garden outside." Slowly, she said. Momo clapped softly, liking the idea, even if he didn't fully understand it. Mama Willow nodded. "A slow day sounds perfect." After breakfast, Lulu helped wash the dishes. She liked the feeling of warm water on her paws and the soft bubbles that popped in tiny, gentle sounds. Momo sat nearby, playing with his star pillow and watching the bubbles drift around like floating lights. When they stepped outside, the forest greeted them with the calmest kind of morning. The sunlight didn't shine brightly. Instead, it filtered through the leaves in soft, golden streams. The wind didn't rush, it whispered. Even the insects seemed to move slowly, like they knew it was a peaceful day. Papa Briar trimmed the soft grass around the burrow, each cut slow and careful. Mama Willow gathered small herbs growing nearby, humming her gentle tune again. Lulu knelt near the small patch of carrots she had planted with Papa. She brushed soil gently away and smiled at how the carrots seemed to peek out shyly. "They're growing," she whispered, as though speaking loudly might scare them. Momo toddled around, wobbling slightly, holding his star pillow, but stopping every few seconds to look at a tiny flower, as though it were the most important thing in the world. The whole morning passed like this, slow, soft, quiet, when they finished their garden chores. Papa Briar spread a warm blanket under the tree. They all sat together, feeling the soft breeze and listening to the distant hum of the forest. Lulu leaned against Mama Willow, and Momo curled up in Papa's lap, drifting in and out of a tiny nap. Nothing big happened, nothing surprising occurred, and yet the bunny family felt completely content. Inside the burrow later, Mama Willow prepared a gentle afternoon soup. Lulu arranged her small blanket neatly on her bed. Papa Briar rocked Momo slowly in the wooden chair, humming a low and peaceful tune. As evening approached, the lantern lights grew warmer, filling the burrow with a soft glow. Lulu curled up with her blanket. Momo snuggled his star pillow, and Mama Willow whispered, "What a lovely, quiet day." Papa Briar nodded, "The best kind." And as the family settled into their cozy home, the outside world dimmed, letting the bunny burrow rest within its warm, gentle silence. The day ended just as it began, soft, slow, and full of the quiet love that only home can give. A gentle, rainy day at home, asterisk, the next morning in the bunny burrow began even softer than the one before. The forest above was still, wrapped in a blanket of soft, gray clouds that covered the sky like cotton. No strong beams of sunlight pushed through the leaves, and no loud bird calls echoed in the distance. Instead, there was only one sound that filled the air, slowly and quietly, the gentle patter of rain. At first, the raindrops were tiny, almost like whispers tapping against the ground. Then, little by little, they became steadier, falling in soft, even rhythms. The old oak tree above the burrow shook its branches just slightly, letting droplets slide from leaf to leaf, making small, soothing sounds as they fell. The bunny burrow, tucked safely beneath the earth, felt even cozier on a day like this. Mama Willow opened her eyes and listened. She didn't rush to get out of bed. She just lay there for a few moments, feeling the calmness of the rain. It was the kind of morning that made the world feel smaller and safer, like everything outside had slowed down too. She turned her head and saw Papa Briar still sleeping beside her, his blue knitted sweater pulled up to his chin. One of his ears twitched as a particularly steady patter of rain rolled over the roof of the burrow. She smiled softly and whispered, "Good morning, rainy day." Slowly, she sat up, straightened her apron, and stepped onto the warm, smooth floor. When she opened the bedroom door, the soft glow from the lantern in the hallway greeted her. She didn't light a brighter lamp just yet. The dim, golden light felt just right for a rainy morning dot from the small bedroom across the burrow. She heard the tiniest sigh. Lulu, with her soft gray fur and beloved blanket, rolled over in bed and blinked her sleepy eyes. The sound of the rain reached her too, and she lay still for a moment. It was a peaceful sound, almost like someone quietly tapping a gentle rhythm just for her. Lulu sat up slowly and hugged her blanket close. She could smell something faint and comforting drifting through the air, a familiar mix of oats and cinnamon that Mama Willow liked to prepare. She slid off her bed, her paws making almost no sound on the floor, and padded quietly into the hallway. Mama Willow turned just as Lulu appeared. "Good morning, my little cloud," she whispered with a warm smile. "Good morning, Mama," Lulu replied softly, rubbing her eyes. "It sounds like the sky is pouring water over everything." Mama Willow nodded gently. "Yes, it's a rainy day. The forest will be very quiet. It's a perfect day to stay inside our burrow and do everything slowly." Lulu liked the idea of staying inside. Rainy days always made the burrow feel extra cozy, like a warm nest. She wrapped her blanket loosely around her shoulders and watched as Mama Willow stirred the pot of warm oatmeal. Each circle slow and smooth. Papa Briar finally stirred in their bedroom. He let out a deep, gentle yawn and sat up, listening to the rain. "Ah," he murmured softly to himself. "The sky has decided to hum today." He pulled on his slippers, smoothed his brown fur, and stepped out into the main room, his blue sweater hugging him like a soft cloud. "Good morning," he said, his voice low and calm. "Good morning, Papa," Lulu replied, smiling up at him. Momo was still asleep, tightly cuddling his little star-shaped pillow. His tiny nose twitched as he dreamed, and one of his ears flopped over his face. The soft sound of rain made his sleep even deeper. Papa Briar walked over and watched him for a moment, his eyes gentle. "We'll let him wake up slowly," Papa Briar whispered. "The rain is singing him a lullaby." At the small table, Mama Willow placed 3 bowls of warm oatmeal. She moved slowly, making sure the bowls didn't clink too loudly. Lulu climbed into her place, letting her blanket slide into her lap, and Papa Briar sat beside her. The rain outside continued its soft tapping. "What shall we do today, since the rain wants us to stay inside?" Papa Briar asked, stirring his oatmeal at a calm pace. Lulu looked toward the little round window high on the burrow wall. The glass was dotted with tiny raindrops, each one sliding down slowly like a tired star. She thought for a moment. "Maybe we can have a quiet day with stories," she said softly, "and drawing, and maybe baking something simple." Mama Willow smiled. "That sounds lovely. A day of stories, drawings, and baking inside our warm home." Momo finally stretched in his tiny bed, one paw reaching toward the ceiling in a small, sleepy stretch. His eyes fluttered open, and he rubbed them with his paws, still half in his dreams. Papa Briar went to him and gently lifted him up, holding him close. "Good morning, sleepy star," Papa whispered. Momo nuzzled his face into Papa Briar's sweater and let out a little sigh. He could hear the rain too now, but it didn't frighten him. It sounded gentle, like someone drumming soft paws on the roof. They brought Momo to the table, and Mama Willow placed a very small bowl of oatmeal in front of him. Momo held his spoon slowly, taking tiny bites between snuggles with his star pillow. After breakfast, the bunny family didn't rush to start anything. They remained at the table for a while, simply listening. The sound of the rain was steady now, tapping lightly above them, wrapping the burrow in a soft, watery song. Every so often, a drop would land just a little harder on the roof, making Papa Briar glance up with a calm, amused smile. Finally, Mama Willow stood up softly. "I think," she said, "today we'll keep all our activities gentle and slow. No going out in the rain, no loud games, just little things that make our hearts feel rested." Lulu's ears perked up. "Can we start with drawing?" "Of course," Mama Willow replied. "Let's make a little drawing table in the main room together." They gathered a few smooth wooden boards Papa had shaped, some small pieces of soft charcoal from the fireplace, and a stack of simple, creamy paper sheets. Lulu carefully spread them out on the low table, smoothing each sheet so it lay flat. Momo waddled over, still holding his star pillow. He didn't draw much yet, but he liked watching Lulu's lines appear on the page like quiet magic. Papa Briar lit an extra lantern but kept the flame soft. The room was filled with a golden glow, that combined with the soft gray light coming from the window. It made everything look warm and safe. Lulu sat at the little table and picked up a piece of charcoal. She didn't rush to draw. She just looked at the blank page for a moment, breathing slowly. She imagined the forest, the oak tree, the garden, and the inside of their burrow. She didn't need to create something exciting or wild. She just wanted to draw what made her feel calm. Her first gentle lines became the shape of their burrow, with a small round door and a tiny window. Then she added the oak tree above, its branches reaching outward like long arms embracing the sky. She drew soft raindrops falling in slow, curved lines, as if the rain itself were moving lazily. Mama Willow watched her, smiling. "Your drawing looks like a quiet dream," she said softly. Lulu smiled back, her heart warm. Momo reached for a small piece of charcoal. He made short, tiny strokes on his own paper, not trying to make any shapes at all, just little marks, like the raindrops outside. Papa Briar sat beside him and guided his paw gently, helping him draw simple circles that could be anything he wished. "This can be your star," Papa said. Drawing a round shape slowly, Momo looked at it and hugged his star pillow tighter, as if agreeing. After some time, when the papers were filled with soft shapes and peaceful scenes, Mama Willow suggested the next gentle activity. "How about we tell a quiet story together?" she asked. "Not a story full of surprises, but a story that feels like a soft blanket." Lulu's eyes brightened, though her voice remained soft. "Yes, please," she said. They all moved to the sitting area. Papa Briar sat in the rocking chair with Momo in his lap. Lulu sat on the floor, leaning back against Mama Willow, her blanket wrapped around her shoulders again. Mama Willow placed a cushion behind her back so she could sit more comfortably. "Let's tell a story about a rainy day bunny," Mama Willow began, her voice as gentle as the rain. "Is it us?" Lulu asked. "It might sound a bit like us," Mama replied, "but it can also be any bunny who likes quiet days." She told a story about a bunny who stayed home during the rain, listening to every sound and noticing every little detail, how the drops tapped on leaves, how the air smelled different, how the world seemed to hush. The bunny didn't have to solve any problems or go on any journeys. The bunny simply stayed, felt, and rested as Mama Willow spoke. Lulu imagined herself as that bunny, the world wrapped in soft gray and gentle taps. Momo's eyes grew heavier and heavier, his breathing slow and steady as the story washed over him. Even Papa Briar felt his body relax deeper into the rocking chair, the motion slow and even. After the story, they didn't clap or cheer. They just sat quietly for a moment, as if the story itself needed time to settle inside their hearts. Then Mama Willow stood up slowly. "I think it's time to bake something warm," she said, in the small kitchen corner. She brought out a simple wooden bowl and some ingredients: soft flour, a small jar of honey, a few ground oats, and a pinch of spice from the herb shelf. Lulu stood beside her, eager to help but careful to move gently. "Today we will make honey oat biscuits," Mama Willow said. "We will make them small and soft, perfect for a rainy day." Lulu watched as Mama Willow poured the flour. Then Lulu helped by stirring slowly with a wooden spoon, moving in circles just like Mama did when stirring oatmeal. Papa Briar held Momo on his hip so the baby bunny could watch too. his eyes following every small movement. There were no loud noises in the kitchen, no clanging, no rushing. Even the way Mama Willow placed the bowl on the counter was gentle. When it was time to shape the dough, Lulu rolled small, round shapes between her paws, making sure each biscuit was even and calm-looking. "These look like tiny moons," Lulu whispered. "Little rainy day moons," Mama replied. Papa Briar carefully placed each biscuit on a flat baking stone, sliding it into the warm oven built into the wall. As they baked, the smell of honey and oats slowly spread through the burrow, mixing with the earthy scent of rain-soaked roots above them. The family sat together again while they waited. They didn't feel the need to fill every moment with talking. Sometimes they simply listened to the rain and the very soft crackle of the oven. After a while, Papa Briar checked the biscuits and nodded. "They're ready," he said in a quiet voice. Mama Willow took them out, one by one, and placed them on a wooden board to cool. Lulu breathed in deeply. "They smell like warm hugs," she said. They each took a biscuit, holding it carefully because it was still a little warm. Momo's paws wrapped around his biscuit as if it were a tiny treasure. They took slow little bites, letting the gentle sweetness melt on their tongues. Rain continued to fall outside, steady and calm. The rest of the day moved in the same slow way. There was time for another quiet story, this one told by Papa Briar about clouds drifting across the sky. There was a time when Lulu lay on her bed with her blanket and simply watched the lantern light flicker softly on the ceiling. Momo took a small nap in Mama Willow's arms, his star pillow nestled beneath his chin. As evening approached, the rain lightened. The tapping on the roof grew softer and softer, like the sky itself was getting sleepy. The clouds outside thinned a little, allowing a faint silver glow from the hidden moon to reach the small window. Mama Willow lit the night lantern, its glow warm and steady. She moved through the burrow, straightening little things, smoothing blankets, and making sure everything felt calm and ready for the night. Papa Briar helped Lulu fold her drawings and place them in a small wooden box. "You can look at these anytime you want to remember this quiet rainy day," he said softly. Lulu nodded. "I like rainy days inside," she whispered. "They make everything feel closer." Momo cuddled up on his bed with his star pillow. Lulu climbed into her own bed, pulling her blanket up to her chin. The lantern light painted soft golden shapes on the walls. Mama Willow and Papa Briar stood in the doorway for a moment, watching their little ones settle in. "Today was very gentle," Lulu murmured sleepily. "Yes," Mama Willow replied. "Some days are like soft songs, not loud, not exciting, just calm and kind," Papa Briar added. "And those are the days that help our hearts rest." Outside, the last few raindrops fell from the leaves, sliding down one by one, almost reluctant to leave. Inside the bunny burrow, everything was quiet and still. Lulu closed her eyes, thinking of tiny, moon-shaped biscuits, slow raindrops, and stories that felt like blankets. Momo's breathing became soft and even, his little chest rising and falling in a slow, sleepy rhythm. Mama Willow blew out one of the lanterns, but left the smallest one glowing beside their beds. Its light, gentle and comforting. Then she and Papa Briar returned to their room, moving without hurry, their steps as soft as whispers. The burrow rested, the forest rested, and the bunny family drifted into sleep. wrapped not just in blankets, but in the calm, quiet feeling of a rainy day spent together at home. The world outside could change. The weather could shift, but inside their cozy burrow, the gentle peace of this day would remain, like a warm memory held in the heart of the bunny family forever. A slow and cozy cleaning day asterisk. The next day in the bunny burrow began with a soft stillness that felt almost like a pause between breaths. The rain from the day before had gone, leaving behind a quiet forest washed clean. Above the burrow, drops of water still clung to leaves and grass, sparkling faintly when the light touched them. The sky was pale and gentle, not bright, not harsh, just softly awake. Inside the burrow, everything was peaceful. Mama Willow woke slowly, stretching her soft white paws under her blanket before sitting up. She listened. There was no patter of rain now, only the faintest, distant chirping of a few birds just beginning their day. The sounds were mild, not sharp or loud. She could also hear the calm, quiet breathing of her family in their rooms. She took a deep breath in, smelling the familiar, earthy warmth of their home, wooden floors, dried herbs on the shelf, a hint of the honey biscuits they had enjoyed the day before. Still resting in a small tin near the kitchen, she stepped out into the main room, her pale pink apron swaying softly as she walked. The lanterns were dim, their flames resting after the long night. A soft, cool light drifted in through the window, making the burrow look fresh in its own gentle way. Mama Willow looked around and smiled. She loved their little home with its curved walls, low wooden beams, and round door. And on this quiet morning, she noticed something else too. A few crumbs on the table from yesterday's biscuits. A small stack of folded papers from Lulu's drawings. One of Momo's tiny toys resting under a chair. And a little bit of soil near the door where Papa Briar's feet had carried in some garden earth. She tilted her head thoughtfully. Today, she whispered to herself, might be a good day for gentle cleaning. Not the kind of cleaning that made everyone rush, scrub, and hurry. No, she wanted a calm, unhurried, soft kind of cleaning. The kind where every little task was done slowly and kindly, almost like caring for a friend. In the little bedroom, Lulu was slowly waking up. Her gray fur was slightly tousled, and her small blanket was wrapped around her like a cocoon. She yawned a long, quiet yawn and listened. She didn't hear rain this time, only the deep stillness of the forest and the faint sounds of Mama Willow. Moving in the main room, Lulu sat up and hugged her blanket for a moment, feeling the comfort of its familiar weight. She slid off the bed, her paws making soft taps on the floor, and stepped into the hallway. "Good morning, Mama," she said in a gentle voice. Mama Willow turned with a warm smile. "Good morning, Lulu. Did you sleep well?" Lulu nodded. "I dreamed of clouds moving slowly across the sky," she replied, still half inside her dream. "That sounds like a very peaceful dream," Mama Willow said. Papa Briar stirred in their room, and a few moments later he appeared, stretching his arms and smoothing his brown fur. His blue knitted sweater looked just as cozy as ever. "Morning already," he murmured softly, blinking at the gentle light coming through the window. "Yes," Mama Willow replied, "but it's a very quiet morning." Momo was the last to wake. He rolled over, hugged his star-shaped pillow tightly, and then blinked his little eyes open. His tiny nose wiggled as he inhaled the warm, familiar smell of the burrow. Papa Briar scooped him up with slow, steady movements, and Momo rested his head against Papa's shoulder, eyes half closed. "Good morning, little star," Papa whispered, just as he always did. They gathered around the small wooden table again. Mama Willow placed bowls of oatmeal in front of each of them, and Lulu helped by pushing the bowls gently so they lined up neatly. The steam rose slowly from the bowls, like soft, invisible threads reaching upward as they ate. No one rushed. Each bite was taken slowly, each sip of warm milk savored. Lulu watched a tiny ray of light travel along the table, moving as the sun shifted slightly outside. When breakfast was nearly done, Mama Willow brushed a few crumbs into her paw and smiled. "I was thinking," she said in her gentle voice, "that today could be a cleaning day. Not a busy cleaning day, but a slow and cozy cleaning day. We can tidy our burrow and make it feel extra soft and fresh." Lulu's ears perked up a little. "Cleaning can be cozy?" she asked, tilting her head. Mama Willow nodded. "If we do it slowly, together, and kindly, it can be very cozy. We won't hurry. We'll just move from one little task to the next." Papa Briar smiled. "I'll dust the shelves and straighten the books," he said. "I like making them all stand in a nice, calm row." Lulu's eyes drifted around the burrow. She noticed the crumbs on the table, the faint bit of soil near the door, her drawing papers on the chair, and the tiny toy under the stool. She hadn't really seen them before, but now they stood out gently. "I can help," she said. "Maybe I can take care of the table and my drawing things." Momo blinked sleepily from Papa's arms, hugging his star pillow. He didn't understand much about cleaning, but he liked being near everyone. Mama Willow collected the bowls and washed them in warm water. The sound of the water trickling into the sink was soft and steady. Lulu dried the bowls at her slow pace, her little paws patting down the cloth gently after the dishes were done. They began their cozy cleaning day. First, Mama Willow gave Lulu a soft, small cloth. "This can be your cleaning cloth," she said. "You can wipe the table very gently. No need to scrub hard. Just smooth away the crumbs and little marks." Lulu liked the idea of smoothing the table. She placed the cloth on the wooden surface and moved it slowly in calm circles. The crumbs gathered neatly and the little marks faded. It felt almost like petting a dear friend. While Lulu cleaned the table, Papa Briar stood by the shelves along the wall. He lifted each book with care, brushing away any dust with a delicate paw. The books were different sizes and colors, but none too bright or loud. Their spines lined up slowly, one after another, like a row of bunny footprints in fresh snow. "You know," Papa Briar said quietly to Lulu as he worked, "cleaning doesn't just make things tidy. It also makes space for our hearts to rest." Lulu thought about that. "How?" she asked, still moving her cloth slowly. "When we gently take care of our home," he replied, "it feels like our home is taking care of us too. The calmer it looks, the calmer we feel." Lulu nodded. That made sense in a soft, easy way. In the kitchen corner, Mama Willow went through the pantry shelves, checking jars and baskets. She didn't rush, and she didn't move things noisily. She simply straightened them one by one: the oats, the herbs, the tiny jar of honey, the flour, the berries they had dried on sunny days. Every jar that was set neatly in place made the pantry look a little more peaceful Momo toddled along behind her, holding his star pillow in one paw. He wasn't quite big enough to help much, but Mama Willow gave him a very small task. "Here," she said, handing him a little wooden spoon. "You can put this spoon in the drawer." Momo took the spoon very seriously. He walked with slow, wobbly steps to the drawer, opened it with both paws, and placed the spoon inside. Then he closed the drawer, his face proud and calm. "Thank you, Momo," Mama Willow said. "That helps a lot." Momo smiled and hugged his pillow. After a short time, the burrow already felt different, not in a big or exciting way, but in a gentle, quiet way. The table was smooth and clean. The books stood straight and easy on their shelves. The floor near the door was brushed clear of little bits of soil. Lulu picked up her drawings and placed them carefully in a small wooden box that Papa Briar had made her. "This box can be your drawing nest," Papa said. "All your pictures can rest there when you're not using them." Lulu loved the idea of her drawings resting. She gently tucked them in, one by one, as though they were little stories going to sleep. As the morning went on, they took small breaks. A cleaning day didn't mean working without stopping. It meant moving gently, then resting gently at one point. Mama Willow poured them each a small cup of warm herbal tea made from soft leaves that helped them feel calm. Lulu held her cup between both paws, enjoying the soft warmth. Momo blew little puffs of air over his tea, even though his was only a tiny sip and already cool. "Do you like cleaning days?" Lulu asked Papa quietly. "I do," he replied. "They remind me that we don't always need new things or big adventures. Sometimes we just need to care for what we already have." Lulu thought about her blanket, her drawings, the burrow, and even the little wooden stools they used every day. They were all familiar, steady, and comforting. She felt a gentle warmth in her chest after their tea. Mama Willow suggested they move to the sleeping areas. "Let's tidy the beds," she said. "We can smooth the blankets and fluff the pillows so tonight feels even more restful." Lulu liked making her bed. She pulled her blanket up slowly, smoothing out the little wrinkles with her paws. She fluffed her pillow, patting it gently until it looked soft and round. Her bed already felt inviting, even though it wasn't bedtime yet. In Mama's bed, Mama Willow adjusted the small mattress, shook out the tiny sheet, and placed Mama's star pillow carefully at the top. Momo watched closely, making sure his pillow ended up in just the right spot. When Mama Willow stepped back, the little bed looked like a cozy nest. She whispered, "Your bed is ready to hold you tonight." Momo stroked the star pillow with one paw and nodded in the grown-up room. Papa Briar pulled the blanket straight and folded the extra one at the foot of the bed. Mama Willow smoothed the corners and brushed a tiny bit of dust from the headboard. Together, they made the room look peaceful and rested. When all the beds were tidy, they stepped back into the main room and looked around. The burrow looked almost the same as always. Same walls, same furniture, same lanterns, but there was something different in the air. It felt clearer, lighter, as if the home itself had taken a deep breath and sighed happily. Lulu turned in a slow circle, taking it all in. "It feels softer," she said quietly. "That's what happens when we care for our home. It feels softer on the inside and outside." To finish their cleaning day, they decided to open the little round window for a short while. The cool forest air drifted in, carrying with it the faint scent of damp leaves, soil, and distant flowers. It wasn't a strong breeze, just a gentle breath from outside. They stood by the window together for a moment. Lulu pressed her paws lightly on the sill, looking out at the forest. Drops of water still clung to the grass and branches, but the sky was slowly brightening in a calm, pale way. "How does it feel out there?" Papa Briar asked in a soft voice. "Fresh," Lulu replied. Like the forest had its own cleaning day too. They closed the window again after a little while, keeping the warmth inside the burrow. With most of the cleaning done, the rest of the day was theirs to fill with quiet, restful things. Mama Willow suggested something gentle. "We've cleaned our home," she said. "Now we can let our home take care of us. How about we spend the afternoon doing something calm? Maybe a simple puzzle or quiet stitching?" Papa Briar brought out a small wooden puzzle he had carved himself. The pieces were smooth and shaped like leaves, clouds, and little stones. Lulu sat at the table and gently turned each piece in her paws, finding where it fit with a slow, patient motion. Momo watched from Mama's lap, occasionally reaching out a paw to touch a piece. Even when he put it in the wrong place, Papa simply smiled and moved it gently aside without any hurry. As the afternoon passed, the lantern light grew slightly warmer. The forest sounds outside stayed soft, like murmurs in the distance. Inside, the bunny family moved through the burrow with ease, feeling the calm that comes when every corner has been touched with gentle care. When evening finally began to fall, Mama Willow prepared a simple, cozy dinner. A mild vegetable stew simmered in a small pot. The scent filled the burrow with comfort. They ate it slowly, chatting in quiet voices about little things they had noticed during their cleaning. "I found a tiny feather under the stool," Lulu shared. "Maybe it came from a bird who passed by our door long ago." "I found a pebble in my pocket," Papa Briar added softly. "I think it's from the riverbank. Maybe we picked it up on a quiet day walk." Momo pointed toward his freshly made bed, as if to say, "I like my pillow best," and everyone smiled. After dinner, they didn't feel a need for big stories or long conversations. They were already tired in a soft, satisfied way. Their hearts felt as tidy as their home. Mama Willow lit the smallest night lantern, while Papa Briar checked that the door was closed, snug and safe. Lulu climbed into her bed, her blanket feeling extra smooth and welcoming. Momo settled into his, pressing his face gently into his star pillow. "As we sleep," Mama Willow whispered, standing in the doorway of their room, "our home will stay here, quiet and clean, ready to hold us until morning." Lulu closed her eyes, imagining the burrow cradling them like a nest. The shelves, the table, the beds, and the little lanterns all seemed to glow with soft gratitude. Papa Briar added in his gentle voice, "We don't always need to go far or do much. Some of the most peaceful days are when we simply care for what we already have." With that, the lantern light flickered calmly, casting soft shapes on the walls. The bunny family drifted slowly into sleep, their home quietly protecting them. Their hearts settled and light. The forest outside rested, the sky dimmed, and the world around the bunny burrow exhaled into the night. And inside, in their freshly tidied, softly glowing home, the bunny family slept, wrapped in blankets and in the deep, quiet comfort of a day spent gently caring for everything they loved. A quiet afternoon of simple surprises, asterisk. The morning after their slow and cozy cleaning day began with a soft brightness that felt almost like a whisper of sunshine. It wasn't the strong, warm kind of sunlight. Instead, it was pale and gentle, filtering through the leaves above the bunny burrow in smooth, golden ribbons. They slid quietly along the grass, rested on the bark of the oak tree, and reached the small round window of the burrow, like a friendly knock that didn't want to disturb anyone inside. Everything remained peaceful. Mama Willow woke first again, as she often did. She took a slow breath, enjoying the familiar scent of clean wooden floors and softly dried herbs on the kitchen shelf. Their cleaning day had left the home feeling extra light, as though the very walls were breathing calmly with them. She slipped out of bed, her pale pink apron hanging loosely from its hook, and walked into the kitchen corner with quiet steps. She touched the small pot that held their oats and smiled. "A gentle breakfast for a gentle day," she whispered to herself. She stirred the oatmeal slowly, the wooden spoon making soft circles inside the pot. The warm steam rose in thin, smooth ribbons, warming the air just a little. Lulu awoke next. She lay in her freshly made bed for a few moments, remembering how soft the blanket had felt when she drifted off last night. She wiggled her toes against the sheets, happy with how smooth they felt. The little lantern near her bed had dimmed down to a soft glow, just enough to light her room without waking her too quickly. When she finally sat up, Lulu hugged her blanket close. It still smelled like home, warm, earthy, and calm. She slid out of bed, making sure not to tug the corners out of place. Her blanket stayed wrapped around her shoulders as she stepped into the hallway. "Good morning, Lulu," Mama Willow whispered, not wanting to break the softness of the morning. "Good morning, Mama," Lulu replied, rubbing her eyes with gentle paws. Papa Briar soon appeared as well, stretching his arms upward with a long, slow yawn. His blue knitted sweater looked softer today, as though it had rested well overnight, too. "Morning, my little cloud." He greeted Lulu as he walked past her to kiss the top of her head. "The day feels peaceful already." Momo was last to wake, but no one minded. His little star pillow definitely seemed to be holding him inside a warm dream that he didn't want to leave just yet. When Papa Briar picked him up, Momo gave the tiniest squeaky yawn and pressed his face into Papa's sweater without even opening his eyes. Breakfast was simple and slow. They ate their warm oatmeal, sweetened only with a little bit of honey left from their biscuits. They didn't speak much during the meal, not because they had nothing to say, but because quiet mornings had a special, quiet kind of language after breakfast. Mama Willow looked around the burrow and then at her family. "I was thinking," she said softly, "that today could be a day of simple surprises." Papa Briar raised an eyebrow gently. "Simple surprises," he echoed. "Yes," Mama Willow said with a warm smile. "Not big surprises, not noisy ones, just tiny, soft surprises that make our hearts feel gentle." Lulu's ears lifted with curiosity. "What kind of surprises?" "The quiet kind," Mama Willow replied. "The kind that you discover by paying attention." Lulu loved the idea immediately. Momo didn't quite understand, but he clapped his paws anyway, which made everyone smile quietly. Papa Briar nodded. "I think we can all look for simple surprises today. Perhaps the forest left something for us to find. But Mama Willow shook her head gently. We don't need to go outside. Today, the surprises can be inside our home. Lulu looked around their burrow with new eyes. The shelves, the chairs, her drawing box, the pantry, all the things she saw every day suddenly seemed like they could be hiding tiny secrets she hadn't noticed before. Let's start slowly, Mama Willow said. Each of us can choose one little area and look for something gentle and small that we might not have noticed before. Lulu chose the bookshelf. She walked over quietly and stood on her toes to look more closely at the rows of neatly lined books Papa Briar had arranged yesterday. She ran one paw along the spines, enjoying how smooth and cool they felt. And then she noticed something. Mama Willow watched from across the room. What did you find, Lulu? Lulu smiled softly. One of the books has a pressed flower inside it. I never saw it before. She pulled out the small book and opened it carefully. A tiny, dried yellow flower rested between two pages, flat, delicate, and peaceful. It looked like sunshine that had decided to take a nap in a book. That one has been there for a long time, Papa Briar said in a gentle voice. A simple surprise waiting to be found. Lulu closed the book carefully and returned it to the shelf with a soft smile. Papa Briar then began his own search for a gentle surprise. He knelt near the wooden chair Momo liked to sit on. Underneath the chair, he found a tiny, smooth pebble, round and speckled with soft colors. Momo, he whispered, holding it up. Look at this. Momo blinked, his ears lifting in tiny interest. He reached out and touched the pebble with one paw. It fit so perfectly in Papa Briar's palm, like it had been waiting for someone to find it. Perhaps this pebble came from the forest long ago, Papa Briar said. A tiny piece of outside, resting quietly inside. Momo kept touching the pebble gently, fascinated by how it felt. Mama Willow then looked toward the kitchen corner. She opened the pantry slowly, letting the soft wooden door creak just barely. She scanned the shelves, noticing the jars they had straightened yesterday: oats, dried berries, herbs, flour. And then she saw it. Not a big thing, but a very small one. A tiny sprig of dried lavender lying behind the honey jar. It had likely fallen long ago and rested there unseen. She picked it up and inhaled its gentle scent. A bit of sunshine from spring, she said. A surprise left behind by warmer days. She placed it on the table so its scent could drift softly through the burrow. Soon, Lulu looked for another surprise, this time near her drawing box. When she opened it, she noticed something she had not seen before. A sheet of paper with only one small drawing on it. A single curved line. She tilted her head. I don't remember drawing this. Papa Briar looked over. Ah, he said with a quiet smile. That was one of Momo's very first drawings. Before he could make circles, Lulu hugged the paper gently. It looks like a wave, she whispered. Momo babbled softly. As if pleased, someone found his early art. They continued this gentle searching for small surprises, not rushing, not looking for anything big. They simply let the burrow show them its quiet treasures near the lamp. Lulu found a tiny feather, soft, gray, and almost weightless. She let it rest on her paw, amazed at how delicate it felt, near the door. Papa Briar noticed the pattern of dried raindrops on the window. tiny trails gliding down the glass as though the rain had tried to write a secret message. Momo found a little knot in the wooden floorboard, shaped almost like a bunny's ear. Mama Willow found an old ribbon tucked behind the broom, pale blue and wrinkled from age. Each discovery brought a slow smile, the kind that warmed the heart gently when all their simple surprises had been found. Mama Willow suggested they share them in a quiet circle. They sat together on a soft blanket in the center of the burrow, Lulu with her feather, Papa with the pebble, Mama with the lavender sprig, and Momo holding his small drawing paper with pride. They passed each item around slowly, letting everyone touch and admire it in silence. "It is remarkable," Papa Briar said softly, "how many gentle surprises our home can hold." Mama Willow nodded. "When we slow down, we see things we didn't see before." Lulu looked at her feather again. "I think our home has little stories hiding everywhere." "Perhaps," Mama Willow whispered, "and tomorrow may bring even more." The afternoon light grew softer, turning the room into a warm, golden nest. They spent the rest of the day resting, playing a quiet game with the pebble, drawing new, simple shapes, and stitching small patches into their family quilt. The burrow glowed with lantern light, peaceful and steady. Lulu placed all their simple surprises into a wooden bowl on the table, a little treasure bowl filled with dried lavender, a feather, a pebble, and Momo's tiny drawing. "It can stay here," she said softly, "so we don't forget today." Momo nodded, clutching his star pillow. After a light dinner, the family settled into their beds. Everything felt warm and right. Their home felt alive with gentle stories. Mama Willow whispered as she tucked Lulu in, "Tomorrow is the last part of our gentle days before our next big rest." Lulu smiled sleepily. "I'm ready." And as the lanterns dimmed and the forest hushed itself to sleep, the bunny family drifted into a soft, peaceful night. The day of togetherness, the next morning came with a stillness so deep that even the forest birds seemed to wait before singing. A gentle hush lay over the land, as if the whole world were wrapped in a blanket, just like Lulu's blanket warm, enough to slow every breath and soften every sound. Inside the bunny burrow, the lanterns were dim, their golden glow resting softly across the wooden floor. The warm scent of dried lavender found the day before still floated gently in the air. Mama Willow woke slowly, more slowly than usual. She didn't rise right away. Instead, she lay in bed, listening to the quiet. It was the kind of quiet that felt full, not empty. A quiet that comforted rather than hushed. The quiet of a home that had been cleaned, cared for, and wrapped in peace for days. Beside her, Papa Briar slept deeply, his blue knitted sweater slightly wrinkled from the night. His breaths were long and even, matching the peaceful rhythm of the burrow. Mama Willow watched him for a moment, appreciating how safe and steady he always seemed. Then she finally rose and stepped into the main room. Everything looked extra soft that morning: the chairs, the wooden shelves, the small window, the blanket folded on the stool. Even the shadowy corners of the burrow seemed gentle, as though they were quietly waiting to be filled with warm moments. Lulu woke next. She blinked her sleepy eyes and lay still for a while, remembering every little thing from the past few peaceful days: the rainy morning, the slow cleaning, the simple surprises they discovered. The memory made her heart feel full in the softest way. She reached for her blanket and wrapped it around her shoulders before stepping quietly into the hallway. "Mama," she whispered. Mama Willow turned with a warm smile. "Good morning, my little moonbeam." Lulu walked over and leaned her head against Mama Willow's side. She didn't need to say anything else. Mama understood. Some mornings only asked for closeness, not words. Papa Briar eventually joined them, stretching slowly, his paws brushing against the ceiling as he yawned. "It feels like the whole forest is asleep," he murmured. Mama Willow nodded. "It's a day for resting hearts." Momo woke to rubbing his tiny eyes with his paws, clutching his star pillow with sleep still clinging to his fur. He toddled to Papa Briar, who lifted him with a slow, warm motion. After breakfast simple, warm oats with a drizzle of honey, they sat around the table without rushing away. Lulu rested her chin on her paws. Momo leaned lightly against Papa's chest. Mama Willow smoothed a wrinkle in her apron and looked around the burrow as though seeing it anew. "I've been thinking," she said softly, "that today is a special kind of day." "What kind?" Lulu asked. "The kind where we don't clean or draw or bake or even look for surprises. The kind where we simply enjoy being together." Papa Briar nodded. "A day of togetherness." Lulu smiled softly. "That sounds nice," Momo babbled, a tiny sound that meant he agreed, even if he didn't fully understand. They began the day slowly, moving around the burrow with no plan and no hurry. Each step felt like part of a gentle dance. They spent time sitting near each other, touching shoulders now and then, sharing warm glances without needing to talk. Papa Briar suggested they gather the little treasures from the wooden Balulu's feather, Mama's lavender sprig, the smooth pebble. "Let's hold them one more time," he said, "and think about how small things can make a whole day feel warm." They passed each object around again, but this time even slower than before. The lavender scent floated through the air in a soft, soothing trail. The feather tickled Lulu's paw gently. The pebble sat in Mama Willow's hand, cool and grounding. And Momo smiled proudly when everyone admired his tiny scribble. "These treasures aren't big," Mama Willow said, "but they're full of gentle memories." Lulu set them back in the wooden bowl, but she did it carefully, as if placing down fragile pieces of happiness. After a while, Papa Briar lit a lantern and placed it in the center of the room. Its glow spread softly across the burrow, warming every corner. "Let's sit together," he said. "Just sit." So they settled on the soft blanket in a small circle. Mama Willow, Papa Briar, Lulu with her blanket, and Momo with his star pillow. The lantern between them flickered slowly, its warm light reflecting in their gentle eyes. No one told a story. No one asked questions. They simply breathed together, letting the quiet settle deeper around them. Momo curled into Mama Willow's lap, his little body relaxing completely. Lulu leaned her head on Papa Briar's shoulder, feeling the steady rise and fall of his breaths. Time moved gently, as though the day didn't want to disturb them. Eventually, Mama Willow whispered, "Sometimes the best days are the quietest ones." Papa Briar nodded, "Because on those days, our hearts have time to catch up." Lulu smiled at that. "What does our heart catch up to?" "To the peace around us," Mama Willow replied softly. "To the love inside our home. To the stillness that helps us rest." Momo let out a tiny sigh, the kind that only happens when someone feels truly safe. The afternoon went on like this slow moments of togetherness. They sat, they rested, they breathed. Now and then, Lulu traced little shapes on her blanket with her finger. Papa Briar hummed a soft tune, barely above a whisper. Mama Willow stroked Momo's ear, smoothing it gently. Nothing needed to happen, and yet everything felt full as evening approached. The lantern's glow deepened, spreading a warm, sleepy feeling through the whole burrow. The forest outside quieted even more, as though respecting the bunny family's peaceful day. Mama Willow prepared a warm broth for dinner. After they finished, Papa Briar looked around the room with soft eyes. "We have had days of rain," he said, "days of cleaning, days of little surprises, and today, a day of togetherness." Mama Willow nodded. "All gentle days, all soft days." Lulu wrapped her blanket around her shoulders. "I like gentle days," she whispered. "They make me feel calm inside." Papa Briar lifted Lulu into a long, warm hug, then pulled Mama Willow close. Momo squeezed his star pillow and leaned into the hug too. "We will have many more gentle days," Mama Willow whispered into their ears, "because gentle days come from us. They come from our hearts, not from the weather or the chores or surprises." Lulu's eyes softened. "So we can make gentle days whenever we want." Mama Willow kissed her forehead. "Yes, as long as we stay close, as long as we stay kind," Papa Briar added. "And as long as we remember that home is not just a place, it's the feelings we share." Those words settled into the burrow like warm snow falling quietly when it was time for bed. Mama Willow tucked Lulu in slowly, smoothing her blanket until it hugged her just right. Papa Briar gently placed Momo in his little bed, making sure the star pillow was nestled under his cheek. The lantern flickered softly on the wall, casting gentle shapes that swayed like drifting clouds. "Good night, my little ones," Mama Willow whispered. "Good night," Lulu murmured, already drifting. Papa Briar lowered his voice. "May your dreams be soft, and may tomorrow greet you gently," Momo squeaked sleepily. Curling his paws under his chin, Mama Willow blew out the lantern, leaving only a tiny nightlight glowing like a sleepy firefly. The burrow quieted, the forest quieted, the bunny family rested, breathing together in the warm, loving stillness of home. And the world above, softened by the peace below, wrapped them in quiet through the entire night.